Hiya, everybody. My name's Luminescent, and welcome back to my observatory, where my loyal lunar listeners and I discuss odd connections all over media, history, etc. Today's topic: Angel Island. If you're anything like me, you heard that topic and immediately thought, which one? And that is what sparked this episode. That and a tad of research. If you've listened to previous episodes, you no doubt have heard me mention what is and will likely always be my favorite video game franchise, Sonic the Hedgehog. And in that favorite franchise, above the rest of the many colorful places the Blue Blur has traveled, is the coveted Angel Island, set aloft amongst the clouds through the power of its mystical Master Emerald. All of this debuted in Sonic the Hedgehog 3, which released in February of 1994. But of course, that's not the only Angel Island in this episode. As for the real Angel Island, it was an immigration station that was operational between 1910 and 1940 in San Francisco, California. Typically, Angel Island is brought up right next to Ellis Island, another immigration station integral during its time. Angel Island's immigrants mostly came from places in the east like Japan, unlike Ellis's immigrants, who were mostly from more Western European countries like Germany. Because of this location, San Francisco has plenty of people of Asian descent that live there and even have relatives that still live in Asia. So when I realized these two very different places shared a name, I couldn't help but wonder, why? The answer is a lot simpler than I thought at first. So let's time travel back to the 1990s for a hot second. Say hi to Sega, an international hardware and software producer for video games. In short, they make consoles and games for said consoles. In 1991, Sonic the Hedgehog was released, a worldwide phenomenon that challenged the current king of all things video game, Nintendo. After some internal drama, at Sega Technical Institute, two different teams made two different Sonic games. Branch of Sega Technical Institute, or STI as I will continue to refer to them as, located in California, which included series creator Yuji Naka, released Sonic 2 in 1992. Meanwhile, a branch of STI located back in Japan, including the character designer behind Sonic, Naoto Oshima, released Sonic CD the following year. So imagine you're Sega and it's late 1993, early 1994, and Sonic needs a fourth game. So it's up to the American division to whip up another Sonic game and finally make the world question why we went from numbers to letters and back to numbers. It was finally time to develop Sonic the Hedgehog 3. Located in Palo Alto in Redwood City, California, STI begins development on its new game, all the while visiting multiple places in the California area to burn off steam together and gather inspiration. One of these activities even includes snowboarding, which is something that actually made it into the final release of Sonic 3 in Ice Cap Zone's first act. And, being roughly 33 miles out from Palo Alto, the team decided to name its first zone after Angel Island, hence Sonic 3's opening act, Angel Island Zone. It's really interesting to me that a place for Japanese immigration ended up being used, by name, in an ultimately Japanese franchise. Sure, it was developed in America, but the team was a mix of both Japanese and American game developers, another interesting part of this anecdote. Sega's American division, if you know anything about Sonic, has always been leagues more lenient and diverse with its approach. Under Sega's American division, which treated the three wildly different cartoon adaptations, the longest running comic book based on a video game character, and multiple spin-offs that were both nothing like and everything like other Sonic games. So too have places that had immigration stations like Angel Island have plenty of diversity and contribute to the melting pot that is America at large. In that weird way, an Asian immigrant processing station contributed both to the melting pot of early Sonic the Hedgehog, but also to a nation that was starting to experience change rapidly. There's also the angle that Angel Island, the immigration station, was an opening for new opportunities for these immigrants, a chance to rise above whatever push factors drove them from their home country and into the arms of pull factors like living a better life, escaping war, and making sure their children have a better life for themselves. It paints Angel Island's floating capabilities in a different light, like it's floating above the problems of the world below it. and there's also the isolation factor as well. And I think that's really neat. It's the sort of thing that on its own doesn't mean too much unless you really think about it. And that's kind of what I love about this series and what I love about how history can relate to the things that we see all the time in media and all around us in not media, in reality. And that's really neat, according to me. And I'm sure a lot of you as well. Thank you so much for listening. If you've listened this far, then clearly you either like what I'm talking about or you like my voice or something. So, thank you. Maybe hit the like button if you feel like it, hit the subscribe button. But really, this is more of a hobby. Um, in this case, it's for an assignment, but I'm sure I'm gonna make more YouTube videos in the future if I feel like it.